The Great Depression from 1929 to 1939 was a severe worldwide economic downturn caused by multiple factors. Let's take a look at what we all have probably heard about and the factors that led into the Great Depression.
Welcome to Everything with Everett. This is a talk show podcast hosted by Everett McConaughey. The purpose of this production is to share thoughts, voices, and information to further a discussion on who we are as individuals, communities, and a global society. Everything with Everett is open to all topics of discussion: faith, science, history, finances, social issues, and, well, everything. Be sure to follow, like, and subscribe. Visit everettpodcast.com for all the details.
How did the Great Depression happen? The Great Depression, from 1929 to 1939, was a severe worldwide economic downturn caused by multiple factors. Number one, the stock market crash in 1929. The U.S. stock market crashed on October 29, 1929, also known as Black Tuesday, wiping out billions of dollars in wealth and shattering investor confidence. Number two, there were bank failures. Thousands of banks collapsed due to panic withdrawals and bad loans, leading to the loss of people's savings. You might recall, if you've seen A Wonderful Life, it's largely around this same time frame. People come to the local bank, they want all their money out, they don't have the money on hand, and the town becomes a little bit uproarious because they want their money now. They don't want to wait. They don't fully understand that banks don't keep all of their cash locked in a safe. They invest it and try to get returns on it. Number three, decline in consumer spending. As people lost jobs and savings, demand for goods and services dropped, causing businesses to shut down. Overproduction and underconsumption. Factories and farms had produced too many goods, but demand couldn't keep up, leading to layoffs and price drops. Drought and the Dust Bowl in 1930s. Farmers in the Midwest faced severe droughts, making agricultural production even harder. And number six, government policy mistakes. The Smoot-Hawley Tariff Act of 1930 imposed high tariffs, which hurt global trade instead of protecting American businesses. How did it change people's thoughts on money? The Great Depression had a profound impact on how people viewed saving and spending. Frugality became a way of life. People who lived through the Depression learned to save as much as possible, repair items instead of replacing them, and avoid unnecessary debt. Fear of banks and stock market. Many distrusted banks after widespread failures and became reluctant to invest in stocks. There was a shift towards government assistance. The crisis led to the creation of safety nets like Social Security and unemployment insurance, changing how people viewed government intervention in financial security. Some warning signs to watch for today. To avoid another economic disaster, we should watch for these warning signs. Number one, excessive stock market speculation. If the market is growing too fast, based on hype rather than real business profits, a crash may be near. Number two, high levels of debt. Rising government, corporate, and consumer debt can create instability, especially if people rely on loans to cover basic needs. Number 3, housing bubbles. If home prices rise too quickly due to easy lending, a collapse, like in 2008, could follow. Number 4, bank instability. If banks take too many risky loans or fail to manage reserves, widespread failures could occur. Number 5, declining wages and job losses. A slowdown in job growth or wage stagnation while the cost of living rises can signal trouble. Number 6, global trade issues. Trade wars, supply chain disruptions, and reliance on a few major economies can make financial systems vulnerable. Number 7, rising inflation or deflation. High inflation erodes purchasing power, while deflation, the falling prices, can slow the economy by discouraging spending. The conclusion on this first part: the Great Depression was a wake-up call about the dangers of speculative bubbles, weak financial regulations, and economic inequality. Today, staying financially educated, maintaining savings, avoiding unnecessary debt, and watching for economic red flags can help individuals and governments prevent similar crises. So I asked, let's go a little bit deeper into each of these areas. And so here is part 2. Number 1, how did the Great Depression happen? Expanded. The Great Depression was the result of a combination of economic, financial, and policy failures. Let's break down some key causes in more detail. The stock market crash, 1929. Why did it happen? During the Roaring 20s, 1920s that is, not 2020s like we're in now, stock prices soared as many people borrowed money, margin loans, to invest. This speculation drove prices higher than the actual value of companies. On October 24th, 1929, Black Thursday, the market began dropping. On October 29th, 1929, Black Tuesday, investors panicked and sold stocks rapidly, causing a catastrophic collapse. By 1932, the Dow Jones Industrial Average had lost nearly 90% of its value. Bank failures, the domino effect. When stock prices collapsed, many who had borrowed money to invest couldn't repay loans. Banks had also invested heavily in the stock market, losing depositors' money. As people lost confidence, they rushed to withdraw money in bank runs, leading to thousands of banks failing, over 9,000 between 1930 and 1933. Consumer spending collapsed. As jobs were lost and savings were wiped out, people stopped spending. Businesses cut back on production, leading to more layoffs, worsening the crisis. Overproduction and underconsumption. In the 1920s, factories and farms had produced too many goods. When the demand dropped, prices fell, making it hard for businesses and farmers to stay afloat. The Dust Bowl, a disaster for farmers. Severe droughts in the Midwest caused crops to fail. Strong winds created dust storms, making farming nearly impossible. Millions of farmers lost their land, forcing them to migrate to cities and other safe states, for example, California. The Smoot-Hawley Tariff Act of 1930 was a bad decision. This law raised tariffs, taxes on imports, to protect American businesses. Other countries retaliated by imposing their own tariffs, leading to a collapse in the international trade. This made the Depression even worse, as exports dropped. How did it change people's thoughts on money? An expanded explanation. The Great Depression left a lasting impact on financial behavior for decades. Frugality became the way of their mindsets. People learned to save money wherever possible, sewing clothes, growing food, avoiding waste. The phrase, use it up, wear it out, make it do or do without, became common. Fear of debt and investing. People stopped using credit or avoided loans unless absolutely necessary. People became skeptical of stocks, preferred safe investments like gold or cash savings, increased trust in government safety nets. Before the Great Depression, there was no unemployment insurance or Social Security. The New Deal from 1933 to 1939 introduced programs like Social Security in 1935, a retirement and disability benefit. The FDIC, Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, 1933, insured bank deposits, restoring trust in banks. And unemployment benefits helped those who lost their jobs. What warning signs should we look for today? An expanded explanation. To avoid another economic collapse, these are key red flags to monitor. Excessive stock market speculation. If stock prices are rising too fast without real earnings growth, it could be a bubble. An example, the 2008 financial crisis was fueled by speculation in real estate. High levels of debt. Household, corporate, and national debt have reached record highs today. If too many people rely on credit cards or loans, for basic expenses, a financial crash could happen. Housing market bubbles. If home prices increase too quickly, banks may lend irresponsibly. An example, in 2008, the crisis happened because banks gave out risky loans, subprime mortgages. Banking instability and lack of regulation. If banks take too many risks, they could fail, causing panic, like in 1929. The 2008 crisis happened partially because of deregulated banks taking dangerous mortgage-backed securities. Declining wages and high unemployment. If wages do not keep up with inflation, people cannot afford basic goods, slowing the economy. An example, wage stagnation has been a major issue in many developed countries. Global trade disruptions. If trade wars, supply chain failures, or geopolitical tensions escalate, economies can suffer. An example, U.S. and China trade tensions or oil supply disruptions could hurt the markets. Rising inflation or deflation. High inflation reduces the value of money, making necessities expensive. Deflation, falling prices, discourages spending, slowing economic growth. A conclusion, how to protect yourself today. Here are practical steps individuals and governments can take. For individuals, build an emergency fund. Save 3 to 6 months of expenses. Avoid excessive debt. Don't rely too much on credit cards or loans. Invest wisely. Diversify investments. Don't put everything in stocks. Learn financial literacy. Understand how money, investing, and markets work. For governments, monitor and regulate banks. Prevent risky lending. Control inflation. Keep prices stable through responsible policies. And encourage sustainable growth. Invest in long-term infrastructure, education, and industries. Some final thoughts. The Great Depression taught hard financial lessons about speculation, saving, and economic stability. While today's economy is different, similar warning signs exist. By being financially smart and recognizing the red flags, both individuals and policymakers can prevent another disaster. And that is your quick and dirty on the Great Depression that happened in our grandparents' lives in the 1920s, 1930s. And I feel like we all learned something from somebody from those days. You know, how many of us still keep the butter container and use that for leftovers? That's probably from that same era. We all got imprinted with some frugality wisdom that came from the people of that era. And who knows what we'll look back on and be like, oh yes, it was the people that were alive in 2008. Here's some frugality that they added to that mix from their grandparents. So, the more you know, pass it on.
Thank you for listening to Everything with Everett. Connect with Everett and other listeners on Facebook and Twitter at Everett Podcast. Everett would love to hear from you. Share your thoughts by emailing mystory@everettpodcast.com. You can also leave a voicemail or send a text message to 208-391-2808. Choose to listen, speak with kindness, and have a great day.